takeaway from the results. And I want to begin here with my commentary about the results that we have been given from the Electoral Office of Jamaica. 34 seats to the Jamaica Labour Party, to 29 seats to the People's National Party. Of course, the majority of the populace voting to keep the Jamaica Labour Party in government and keep the People's National Party in opposition. My best memory from the preliminary numbers was that the JLP won the popular vote as well at about 411,000 versus that of the PNP. I think they were recorded about 404,000 plus on both sides, 411,000 plus to 404,000 plus. I'm sure my producer will advise me if my memory is failing me. But I think the people of Jamaica got it right. That is my immediate reaction to the results. The people of Jamaica got it right. And before I go any further, I recall seeing a tweet from someone on X saying a minority government is in place. And of course, the person had to attempt to explain what is meant, because a minority government is not in place in Jamaica. And we need to be, I see people were challenging this statement online, and rightly so. That's not the definition. What we have in Jamaica isn't the textbook definition of minority government, which the person eventually accepted. A public figure, won't necessarily call the name here, but just want to address the point. A minority government happens when no particular party gets to an outright majority. As Nationwide branded its coverage, the race to 32, clearly the Jamaica Labour Party has gotten to a majority of the seats in the nation's parliament, and thus they can't be described as a minority government. I gather the point the person wanted to make, which is a point worthy of discussion in terms of the number of people who actually went out to vote. Under 50%, again, for a general elections. But that's not how you describe a minority government. It was an incorrect use of the term. The Jamaica Labour Party isn't presiding over a minority government. We ought to be factual with what we put in the public. And when it is brought to our attention that the statement isn't accurate, instead of explaining alone what we meant, perhaps what we should do is withdraw, apologize for the use of it, and restate what it is exactly that we wanted to say. But you cannot use the term minority government in that regard, given the textbook definition of the word. But the people of Jamaica got it right, and I tweeted hours after the results came in that it would set a dangerous precedent for any electorate to vote out a government that has delivered on so many ranking big ticket issues. For example, murder. Perhaps Jamaica's Achilles heel. It has been a hindrance to social life. It's been a hindrance to the growth of the economy. Murders have been such a great obstacle and hurdle for this country to get over. And we finally seem like we are turning the corner on murders under the last administration. Murders plummeting to record lows in comparison to any year within the last 20 to 30 years. Unemployment down to the lowest numbers we've seen since numbers were recorded for unemployment in this country. The number of people below the poverty rate halved to have voted out an administration that performed so well on those big ticket issues would have been problematic, I think. If we fail to reward good performance, we would unwittingly be choosing to reward poor performance. You see, I came of age during the 1990s when the PNP had an unbroken run of 18 years in government. At that time, the electorate chose to reward underperformance and poor governance repeatedly. And I looked on in horror as a young person. The administrations of that day lurched from crisis to scandal. And I started out in journalism while during that 18-year unbroken run, and I got an inside seat to what was unfolding in governance, and it wasn't pretty. I know there's been an attempt to be revisionist when it comes to our history or the history of those 18 years of unbroken PNP rule between 89 and 2007. But the electorate repeatedly rewarded underperformance. But then I thought the way to fix Jamaica's democracy was to find a way to vote out the electorate. I usually joked about that. Perhaps that's the only way to fix what's wrong with the country, to find a way to vote out the electorate. For it was displaying a type of political Stockholm syndrome. But the people of Jamaica chose to reward performance, and the will of the people must be respected. The Jamaican people got it right. Did the Holness administration do everything right? You've heard me haul them over the coals here. You've heard me offer constructive criticism of them here. And when they've gotten it wrong, I've held them accountable on this very program and others on this station. And we must continue to do that. I want to get to that point later on in my commentary on this issue about the need to hold elected governments accountable. They didn't always get it right, but they did enough to have secured a third term in government. I might say they did more than enough. And quite frankly, as I held my views then, I was not convinced that the People's National Party was ready for the reins of this country. I do not think they were. The performance in the leadership debates has moved the needle somewhat on that. But what I saw from the People's National Party, mostly throughout the campaigns, gave me significant pause about whether or not they were ready to be in government. So I say again, the people of Jamaica got it right. The Holness administration got it wrong with that sizable increase they gave to the political class. And believe me, that rubbed many Jamaicans the wrong way. Many independent, well-thinking Jamaicans. And it's not simply because people don't want to see politicians paid well. The timing and the quantum of that increase was vulgar. And it turned off quite a bit of Jamaicans. They went about that altogether wrong. It should not have been done like that, especially if the argument is, on average, with the reclassification exercise, government workers were to receive a 20% increase. You can't not identify with the people you serve. I don't understand how the Holness administration got that so wrong, but they did. And the politicians, like others, were given these increases without anything to tie them to performing properly. And we hope in this term that we will see those performance indicators, job descriptions, etc., come to the fore and rather quickly. We're upon our first break. Of course, the station is nationwide, 90 FM. If you want to go to our website, it's revo.ai. Yes? A revolution in media happening right before your very eyes. And of course, it's good to see. We're talking about the results of the country's 19th general elections. The incumbent Jamaica Labour Party has managed to secure a third term in government. It's not now third term loading, as the Labourites were wont to say. It has loaded. People's National Party will serve another term in opposition. And I really think the Jamaican people got it right. The Jamaican people got it right. Performance should be rewarded. And in my lifetime, I have not seen a government or an administration deliver on so many of these big ticket items as we've seen the JLP administration done. A lot of focus or politics is leader-centric. But I recall saying here on this very program that one of the talking points or positives from the JLP is that they need to they are able to say, pardon me, that the JLP is the party of Dr. Horace Chang. If this continues, Dr. Chang will be, without a doubt, Jamaica's most successful national security minister. And we're coming from a place where not even national security ministers were safe, as one famously or infamously was robbed. Imagine being, I'm not making light of being robbed, but you see the irony of being robbed while you are national security minister. That just shows you how bad the situation was. That's how bad our crime situation was. And the JLP owes a lot of this victory to the performance of its security minister, Dr. Horace Chan, who sat before the media and told us that based on the level of investment, the murder rate would decline significantly at the time he said within the next 2 to 3 years. And right on the money, it has happened. So Dr. Horace Chang deserves a lot of credit. The Prime Minister was all over the course when he said if voting for the JLP would result in people being able to sleep with their windows and doors open. Can I tell you that if we keep this decline going, and it should be the hope of every Jamaican, people in Jamaica may very well be able to sleep with their windows and their doors open starting next year. Dr. Chang might go down in history as the country's best national security minister. This is where political careers go to die, listeners and viewers. The Ministry of National Security, people are afraid to touch that ministry with a long stick, And Dr. Chang has taken on the task. I gather people the thinking was he's perhaps on the tail end of his political career. So, let's let him have a go at it. If he fails, he's probably heading to the departure lounge anyway. But Dr. Chang has done well. The members of the security forces have done well. And I maintain, I know I hear the argument, I maintain that if this decline in the murder rate continues, we should put together a little monetary reward for the members of the security forces. Even if it's a one-off payment, performance incentive, they should receive that one-off performance incentive. We must make a habit of rewarding performance in this country. That is how we increase productivity. One of the ways in which we can increase productivity is by rewarding people when they actually perform. And as we talk about, legacy, I want to make this appeal to the country's, he's still he's prime minister-elect since the last election, but of course, the cabinet must remain in place until it is replaced. The country can't be an autopilot. But Dr. Andrew Holness, I'm just a little youth from Marveline. I don't move in the corridors of power. I'm just a little ghetto youth. But I want to say to Dr. Andrew Holness, and I think I've said this before, and I want to say it again. Dr. Andrew Holness, you are at the helm at this time. And it is my belief, that, the good Lord sets up and he takes down. But Dr. Holness is in a position, a very good position, to leave a great legacy of good governance. And I'm making an appeal to Dr. Holness. I recall in a speech he made, I think he made a speech recently, and I stand corrected, about focusing on legacy. You asked the people to choose Jamaica, and they did. And I'm asking you, Dr. Holness, to choose Jamaica. Choose Jamaica over narrow political interests. Choose Jamaica over political expediency. You can go down in history, Dr. Holness, as Jamaica's best prime minister, Jamaica's greatest prime minister, if you put in the work that is required. Jamaica stands on the cusp of something great, and that is a part of the reason why I think the people of Jamaica got it right. Because being on the cusp of what we are, turning the corner fully on so many of these major indicators. Continuity would have been important. So Dr. Holness, the little ghetto youth from Marvel, is saying to you, you have an opportunity to leave a great legacy behind that has been gifted to you by the Jamaican people. In a way, Dr. Holness has grown up in the public eye before the Jamaican people. And I see Nico saying Tyrone, he's putting in the work. I'm not saying he's not putting in the work. I'm making a greater point, Nico. And I'm hoping you and others will be able to understand the greater point that I'm making. Being given this third consecutive term, I think lots can be done for economic growth going forward in this term. We may very well be able to break the back of the murder and crime problem in this country and see lasting peace. All of those things can be solidified during this term. And so I make the appeal to Dr. Andrew Michael Holness. You can leave a great legacy behind. An even greater legacy than saying, because you made history by being the first Jamaica Labour Party leader to be elected in 3 consecutive general elections. You made history in that regard. Continue to make history is what I say. And I wish you nothing but good success. And I wish the members of your cabinet nothing but good success. I do not want any of the cabinet ministers to fail, but if they run afoul of what is the tenets of good governance, you must not be afraid to take action. I wish nothing but good success for the opposition as well, that they will do a great job in opposition. And such a good job that when the country goes to the polls again, it will have a tough choice to make between a good performing administration and a great potential administration in waiting. Now, the electorate is maturing. You notice there is no George Wright in the slate of candidates this time around. Are the people sending a message about the quality of representation that should be on display? Nikisha Burchell of the PNP's win follows in the vein of that of Rhoda Moy Crawford's in 2020, and again, of course, Rhoda Moy being returned in 2025. Is it that the people of Jamaica are saying they want representation that came from them? People they know can identify with their struggles. Both Burchell, Miss Burchell, and Miss Crawford being daughters of their respective constituency soil. You know, by their actions and words, some folks are not fit to see the inside of our country's parliament. I stand by that. Not fit to see inside of it, much less sit in it. But I will respect the will of our countrymen and countrywomen and not offer anything else on that because they voted for them. And to the people of Jamaica, I now say, now that you've exercised your franchise, let's do the rest of the heavy lifting by holding these elected representatives accountable. They're now being remunerated quite handsomely. So let's demand better quality representation. They can't say they're not being paid well, and that's impacting their underperformance. They are now being paid quite handsomely. It's been the way for a little while now. Your vote isn't your only voice. Write letters to the editor, call radio programs, and then, of course, write the political party general secretary and the executive if your MP is MIA in the first 100 days or thereafter. Demand better performance from your elected officials. I leave with this, quite possibly the most enduring moment of the election campaign in my book. I think we're up on the next break. All right, let's take the break and then I close up my thoughts when I return and we'll take your calls thereafter. Suka. 10:35 here, and I'll try to wrap up my thoughts here. Now, quite possibly the most enduring moment of this election campaign, in my estimation, is this video that I'm about to show you. You know, when it happened, the political opponents of the JLP ridiculed the move. But I knew then it was a brilliant move, a brilliant bit of campaign strategy that would resonate with the Jamaican people. Many of you might recall seeing the Prime Minister of the country and members of his cabinet in traffic, in the streets. If you can organize that one for me, Madam Producer. I want to play this video because I think this was a pivotal moment in the election campaign. Let's have a watch and a listen. All right, we're trying to sort it out. But so let me continue to just speak a little until we have the video set up. Now the seeing Prime Minister Holness, members of the cabinet, senior members of the cabinet out in the streets, in the traffic, asking the people of Jamaica to give them another term in government, saying, here are our accomplishments. They were handing out these accomplishments booklets. I think it humanized the government and the JLP in an extraordinary way, and it worked well. Let's have a look at this video. I thought we had one there, Lady Nora, with the Prime Minister as well. But quite a number of them. There you see Delroy Chuck, yeah, the Minister of Justice. And here's the one with Andrew Holness.
Medication first, I say about the thanks in person. 21 years to them, 21 years to them.
How are you doing?
I'm good, and 2007 that same can't help me, but we just fight it. So I'm thank you, know, I'm one to talk to you.
Oh, God.
You know, like, they say I come around to you, but you not got JPS, them talking too much. So I want to thank you, you know. So oh God. Thanks, them say we picture, okay. Thank you. 21 years, I was here.
Oh, God.
Paul and Tika. And Sam.
Where's Tika? I haven't seen Tika
I'm
in
coming here for that, sir.
I haven't seen Tika in
When
years.
you come and say, you have long spent on looking like this. 2004,
That's almost that your bakery.
right, all right, you know. And
All right. You looking good. You looking good.
I'm a Prime Minister, man. All of us. You go
Of course, you know, the PM was also recorded in traffic. This is Babsy Grange now. The Prime Minister you see here handing out booklets in traffic to a taxi man there if you're over on our YouTube channel. Look, I'm telling you, it was laughed at, mocked by some, poured scorn on. This was a winning campaign strategy from the Jamaica Labour Party. And I'm certain the political scientists will have a field day trying to analyze this. Getting down into the streets, you know. There you see the finance minister. There you see there's a shot now of Abke Fitzhenley and the Prime Minister. I think that looks like Marlon Morgan there. Morning to you, Mr. Morgan. Who turned out to be a great spokesperson in the campaign for the Jamaica Labour Party. There you see Dana Morris Dixon, a great addition to the JLP roster of cabinet ministers. Quite impressive, Dr. Dana Morris Dixon. Yes, quite impressive. I think she may very well retain the portfolio of education, and I trust that she'll continue to do well. But let me tell you, this activity humanized the Jamaica Labour Party. It said to the people, to the voting public, we are not above you. We see that we need you. You are our bosses, and we have to come to you to say to you, rehire us. That is what it said. It was a brilliant political strategy, and it worked in favor of the Jamaica Labour Party. Yeah, if you want to, on the flip side, if you want to contrast it, the Mark Goling's enduring memory would be, and I'm not certain if Nora has this image or this video of Mark Goling on stage with the chain.
Despite many critics
Yeah, man. Please go ahead with that video, Lady Nora.
for labeling Sunday's display with PNP's lead-up Mark Golding and General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell and their party supporter as a mockery of slavery, the man at the center of this controversy is seeking to clarify his actions.
Now, imagine this being an enduring memory. And if you can just run the video back with the chain and Mark Golding and the gentleman there, and just keep that frame up with the chain and Mark Golding and the gentleman. Ah, right there. Right there. If you can stop it right there. Right? And Dayton Campbell on stage as well. Dr. Dayton Campbell. This, I've look, if you're a Jamaican, it doesn't matter what your skin tone, color is. You should be able to offer yourself to represent the people. And I've been one of the people who have been saying Mark Golding's skin color should not be a factor in this election. But to be as politically tone deaf as the PNP were, he can't change the color of his skin. You know, he's a Caucasian man, and to have a Caucasian man with a key trying to, as they say, free a man, a black man who is in chains. The political tone deafness of that is, I'm not understanding if they sat around a table and came up with this and then acted it out on stage, this skit. And this is one of the enduring memories in my mind of the election campaign for the People's National Party. And it's unfortunate. It did not work in favor of the People's National Party. And let's hope they don't repeat an error like this going forward. But also another enduring memory for Mark Golding is he did very well in the debates. You can take it down now, studio. He did very well in the debates, gave a good showing of himself, left Marky G at home, did well in the debates. But one of the things we should roundly commend Mark Golding for is the quality of his speech, accepting defeat. The concession speech from Mark Golding that's how democracy should work. So we give kudos to Mark Golding for that. Absolutely well-spoken, tone and tenor, spot on. And somebody, D Queen, saying he had no other choice. No, D Queen, that is not true. He could have chosen to go in another direction, and he did not. And for that, he deserves credit. For that, Mark Golding, the president of the People's National Party, whom we anticipate to be opposition leader, he deserves credit for that. On the business of the voters list, as I close my comments for the day, people have been talking about the need to clean up the voters list. We definitely need to do that. And the EOJ, the ECJ, and the political parties in this country, all of the political parties should come together and design some kind of campaign to see how best we can get more people out to exercise their franchise. It's something we need to work on ahead. It's a years-long campaign ahead of the next general elections. We can get started now. A years-long campaign trying to get more and more people involved with the political process. But those are my thoughts, summing up the results of the country's 19th general elections. It's time to hear from you. I want to hear what you have to say. Give us a call at 876-630-9371 or 876-618-8255. We'll take this break and come back with your calls. Soon come.